So let us take few more questions and answers in our software engineering. So the topic today is distributed software engineering. The first question is, which of the following term is best defined by the statement, in a distributed system, several processes may operate at the same time on separate computers on the network. Which of the following term is best defined by means these are the words and they are defined by this. In a distributed system, several processes may operate at the same time on separate computers on the network. So is it concurrency or any other thing? So please try to answer. The answer is of course concurrency, because here we are talking about several processes which operate at the same time. This is concurrency. Now, which of the following is not a dimension of scalability? Not a dimension of scalability. Size, distribution, manageability, interception. Not a dimension of scalability. The answer is D. Interception. Interception is a communication conception. It is not a dimension of scalability. While the size, distribution, manageability, these are all the dimensions of scalability. Next is, a distributed system must defend itself against what? Is it D or any other? These are options for you. The answer is D, because the distributed system must defend itself against the modification, the interruption, and the fabrication. So for all these three, either modification, interruption, or fabrication, the distribution system must defend itself against these three. Now the next one is, in distributed systems, QoS. QoS stands for what? Quality of service or any other? The answer is quality of service. QoS, that is C. So QoS is particularly critical when the system is dealing with time critical data such as sound or video streams. Quality of service. In Java, dash are comparable with, though not identical to RPCs. In Java, these are comparable with, though not equal to RPCs. So in Java, we have remote method invocations and any other. So answer this. These are four options for you. The answer is RMI. Remote method invocation. So the RMI framework handles the invocation of remote methods in a Java program. Remote method invocation. Next is, dash depend on there being a clear separation between presentation of information and the computation that create and process that information. So what are these? There is a clear separation between the presentation and the computation that create and process that information. The answer would be, these are options for you. The answer is client server systems. So one should design the architecture of distributed client server system so that they are structured into several logical layers and clear interfaces between these layers. Next question is, which architecture is used when there is high volume of transactions to be processed by the server? Architecture for high volume of transactions. These are options. What can be your answer? The answer is multi-tier client server architecture. So in multi-tier systems, this may be used when the application need to access and use data from different databases. So high volume of transaction is to be accorded, and this is multi-tier client server architecture. Which architecture are reliant on middleware? Which architecture are reliant on middleware? The answer is C, distributed component architecture. Distributed component architecture. This architecture are reliant on middleware. So it allows the system designer to delay the decisions on where and how services should be provided. Next is, dash is a way of providing functionality on a remote server with client access through a web server. Dash is a way of providing functionality on a remote server with the client access through a web server. So what will be the answer? The answer is SaaS. SaaS is what? Software as a service. Software as a service. The server maintains the user data and the state during the interaction system. The next question is, which architectures decentralized architectures in which there are no distinguished client and server? Which architecture does that? The answer is peer-to-peer architecture. This is also known as P2P. These are the systems that are decentralized systems in which the computations can be carried out by any node on the network. Now the next is embedded software. We'll talk about embedded software with respect to the software engineering aspects which are employed on the embedded software. So the first question would be, which of the following is a category of stimuli? Which of the following is a category of stimuli? The answer is, these are 4 options for you. Category of stimuli, the answer is periodic stimuli. So periodic stimuli occur at certain predictable time intervals, or they are periodic. For instance, the system may examine a sensor every, say, 50 milliseconds or n milliseconds and take action depending on the value of the sensor. Next is, which of the following activities may be included in a real-time software design process? Which of the following activities may be included in a real-time software design process? These are options for you. The answer is, of course, all of these, because platform selection, timing analysis, process design, these all are the activities that may be included in the real-time software design process. Now the next is, which of the following is not a real-time architectural pattern? Which of the following is not a real-time architectural pattern? What are the options for you? You are going to choose in embedded systems, embedded software. Which of the following is not a real-time architectural pattern? The answer is C. Embedded systems pattern these are process oriented rather than the object or component oriented. Next question is, RTOS stands for what? Real-time operating system? Is it real-time operating system or something other? The answer is, of course, the second one, that is the real-time operating system, this one, B. So embedded applications are built on top of RTOS, that is real-time operating system. The times by which stimuli must be processed and some response produced by the system is known as what? The times by which this stimuli must be processed and some response produced by the system is known as, the answer would be C, deadlines. So if the system does not meet a deadline, then its result is a system failure. The deadline has to be met by any means. In a soft real-time system, it results in a degraded system service, which is not acceptable. Next, the switch to backup power must be completed within a deadline of what? The switch to backup power. The answer is A, 50 milliseconds. The time required to power failure stimuli is 50 milliseconds. Now the next question is, an example of system that may use a process pipeline. An example of a system that may use a process pipeline is a dash. Options here are here. Give me the answer. The answer is high-speed data acquisition system. So the example of a system that may use a process pipeline is high-speed data acquisition system. The data acquisition system, it collects data from the sensor for subsequent processing and analysis. And these systems are used in situations where the sensor are collecting a lot of data from the system's environment, and it isn't possible or necessary to process that data in real time. Next is, periodic occur regularly and unpredictably and are usually signaled using the computer's interrupt mechanism. Is it true or false? The answer is false. Now, this is the case of a aperiodic stimuli. So periodic occur irregularly, that is why it is aperiodic. Unpredictably, that is why it is what we call as aperiodic, and are usually signaled using the computer's interrupt mechanism. Next is, if you detect power failure by monitoring a voltage level, you have to make more than one observation to detect that the voltage is dropping. If you detect power failure by monitoring a voltage level, you have to make more than one observation to detect that the voltage is dropping. Is it true or false? The answer is correct. If you run the process 250 times per second, that means it runs every 4 milliseconds. 4 milliseconds, you will require up to 2 periods to detect the voltage drop. Next is, the average execution time of a power monitor process should be less than this time. Power monitor, execution time of power monitor process should be less than, the answer is 1 millisecond. General embedded software property is this only. It should be 1 millisecond. Now the next question will come from the topic clean room software engineering. Clean room software engineering. The first question is, who was first to propose the clean room philosophy in software engineering? The answer is, the clean room philosophy was proposed by Mills, Dyer and Linger. So all of the mentioned will be the answer during the 1980s. Next is, how does clean room software engineering differs from the conventional and object-oriented view? What is the difference between conventional, object-oriented, and clean room software engineering? These are options for you. Can you predict the correct answer? The answer is all of the above. That means it makes explicit use of statistical quality control. It says everything, the quality control should be statistical. Then it verifies design specification using a mathematically based proof of correctness. It verifies design specification again with the mathematically based proof of correctness, and it relies heavily on statistical use testing to uncover high impact errors. So everywhere it is talking about the statistical quality control, statistical mathematical based proof of verification of design specification, and statistical use testing for high impact errors. Next is, clean room software engineering complies with operational analysis principle by using a method known as what? Clean room software engineering process complies with the operational analysis principles by using a method known as a box structure specification. So box structures are descriptions of functions that exhibit properties essential for effective system specification design. Box structure. The answer is A, because box structure specification, the clean room software engineering complies with the operational analysis principles by using a method we known as box structure specification. Next is, what encapsulates state data and services in a manner that is analogous to the objects. What encapsulates the state data and services in a manner that is analogous to objects? The answer is A, state box. So in this specification view, inputs to the state box, that is the stimuli, and output, that is the responses, are represented. So state box is the correct answer. Next is, MTTF stands for what? MTTF, mean time to failure, and any other? Mean time to failure, B. This is the correct answer. The transition function that are implied by the state box are defined in the transition function that are implied by the state box are defined in clear box. So these are stated simply. A clear box contains the procedural design of the state box. Next is, which of the following is not included in the certification approach? Not included in the certification approach. The answer is C, generation of test cases from the server's end. This is a part of testing phase and can be exhaustive as possible. So therefore it is not included in the certification approach. The dash specifies the behavior of the system or a part of a system. The answer is D, black box. The system or part of a system to specific stimuli, that is events, by applying a set of transition rules that map the stimulus into a response. Black box. Next is, which of the following is required for certification of clean room software engineering? Which of the following is required for certification for clean room software engineering? Our answer would be, let me take you back to find out the answer. Our answer would be D. So we take answer as D, all of the mentioned. We require sampling model, component model, and certification model. Next is, the philosophy of clean room software engineering focuses on defect removal rather than defect avoidance. Is it correct or not? The answer is false. The philosophy focuses on defect avoidance rather than defect removal. First to avoid, then removal will not be required. Which of the following clean room process team develops a set of statistical tests to exercise software after development? So as we have seen, these three are there. So the answer would be, let me take you back before that. The answer is, because we are going to take the next topic is object-oriented testing. Now the answer is the certification team. Certification team does that. Certification team develops set of statistical tests to exercise software after development. Now the next topic, or the last topic of our MCQ questions on software engineering, would be object-oriented testing. First question is, the architecture of object-oriented software results in a series of layered subsystems that encapsulates collaborating classes. Is it true or false? The answer is true. The architecture of object-oriented software results in a series of layered subsystems that encapsulate collaborating classes. This is true. It is necessary to test an object-oriented system at a variety of different levels in an effort to uncover errors that may occur as classes collaborate with one another and the subsystems communicate across the architectural layers. Now the next is second one, the construction of object-oriented software begins with the creation of what? The construction of object-oriented software begins with the creation of. The answer would be D, both design and analysis model. The construction of object-oriented software begins with creation of design and analysis model. This is due to the evolutionary nature of the object-oriented software engineering paradigm. These models begin as relatively informal representation of system requirements and evolve into detailed model of classes, class connections and relationships, system design and allocation, and object design. Which testing integrates the set of classes required to respond to one input or event for the system? Which testing? The answer is B, thread-based testing. So thread-based testing integrates the set of classes required to respond to one input or event for the system. So each thread is integrated and tested individually. So regression testing is applied to ensure that no side effects has been caused or effect has occurred. Next is, which of the following is one of the steps in integration testing of object-oriented software? One of the steps in the integration testing. The answer is A, cluster testing. Here a cluster of collaborating classes is exercised by designing test cases that attempt to uncover errors in the collaboration. So cluster testing would be our answer. Next is, dash methods can be used to drive validation tests. Validation test. The answer is B, that is black box test for validation. Black box testing methods are appropriate for object-oriented systems as they are from the systems developed using the conventional software engineering methods. Which of the following is a part of testing object-oriented code? Testing object-oriented code. The answer would be C, that is class test. The class test is a part of testing object-oriented code. Next is, the object of dash within an object-oriented system is to design tests that have a high likelihood of uncovering plausible bugs. So the answer would be fault-based testing. So the object of fault-based testing, the object of false-based testing within an object-oriented system is to design tests that have high likelihood of uncovering the plausible faults. Next is, what refers to the externally observable structure of an object-oriented program? What refers to the externally observable structure of object-oriented program? And the answer is surface structure. Surface structure refers to the externally observable structure of object-oriented program which is immediately obvious to an end user. Next, dash categorizes call operations based on the generic function that each performs. Dash categorizes class operation based on the generic functions that each performs. The answer is A, category-based partitioning. For instance, operation in the account class can be categorized in initialization of operations like open and setup, computation operation like deposit and withdraw, etc. Next is, which of the following is black box oriented and can be accomplished by applying the same black box method discussed in conventional software? Options are here for you. The answer is both conventional testing and object oriented system testing, validation testing, system validation. So conventional testing and object-oriented system validation testing is black box oriented and can be accomplished by applying the same black box methods discussed for conventional software. Next is, in which of the following testing strategies a smallest testable unit is the encapsulated class or object? In which of the following testing strategies smallest testable unit is the encapsulated class or object? Now the answer would be, of course, unit testing. This is the answer. Correct answer is unit testing. Which of the following testing types is not a part of system testing? The answer is random testing. It is a testing method at class level, random testing. Others are part of system testing. So we have covered the maximum questions we could, and these are the MCQs question and answer for you in software engineering. Hope you have benefited. Thank you so much. Take care.